I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Steven,
I'm Emma.
and we did the impact of first-year specific residence halls. To start off, in the 2018-2019 academic school year, Manchester University made 2 out of their 5 residence halls into first-year specific residence halls. This sparked a controversy within the students, specifically ones that lived in Easton Garver, due to losing traditions and having to be displaced into other residence halls. This sparked an interest in us, and we decided to make a phase 1 research. In phase 1, we looked at academic performance in first-year specific halls compared to mixed grade halls. While we found no significant differences, we found information about belongingness and relatedness that led us to complete phase 2 of this study. Phase 2 focused on feelings of belongingness, relatedness, isolation, and friendships in relation to first-year specific residence halls.
So before we started phase 2, we did a lit review, and we found that belongingness for college students is defined as the psychological sense of affiliation within a campus community. We also found that for college students, this tends to be the residence halls. And we found that the interactions between first-year students and the peers that are closer to them develop the most long-term friendships. So this, for our project, led us to believe that the first-year students who live in first-year specific halls would develop long-term friendships with other first years, but they had a lower probability of developing friendships with upperclassmen. So for our hypotheses, the first one is that first-year halls facilitate friendships between first-year students, and the second one is that first-year halls limit interactions between first-year students and upperclassmen.
For our survey, on our poster, we provided an example of 8 of our Likert scale style questions. First 4 questions are based on agreement, and the last 4 are based on how often students felt or did things such as visit other residence halls. First-year students answered these questions based on this year, and sophomores and upperclassmen answered based on their freshman year. For the methods, we were able to survey 150 North Manchester University students. We've broken this up into 3 groups, being first years, sophomores, and upperclassmen. We did this because the first years are experiencing first year only dorms. The sophomores have the opportunity to have experienced first year only and the mixed grade dorms, and then the upperclassmen have only experienced the mixed dorms. And then each item on our survey was ranked on a 5-point Likert scale. We also asked questions about their first year GPA and some open-ended questions about their opinion on first year specific residence halls.
So after we gathered all of the data, we decided to analyze them, and we divided them into 3 different categories. The categories are relatedness, sense of belonging, and enjoyment of first year residence hall. In relatedness, we saw no significant difference between upperclassmen mean, sophomore mean, and first year mean. This could mean that the first year dorms do not promote a better sense of relatedness compared to the mixed halls. We see the same thing in the sense of belonging category. When we get into enjoyment of first year residence hall, we find our first piece of significant data. When asked if they wish that there were more grades in their first year residence hall, we see that the upperclassmen rated it lower compared to the sophomores and the first years. We believe that the upperclassmen rated it lower due to the fact that they lived in a mixed hall and the first years and the sophomores didn't. We would also like to note that despite a lot of these numbers not being significant, makes them significant itself, because these first year only halls were supposed to promote a higher sense of belonging, relationship, friendship, and enjoyment within the hall. And the fact that it doesn't shows that these halls didn't do what they were supposed to do.
So for our qualitative data, we asked everyone that we surveyed, do you believe that first year specific residence halls are beneficial? So out of our 50 first year students, 23 said that they were beneficial. And the most common reasons were that they facilitate first year relatedness and friendships, and that there's less anxiety without upperclassmen in the residence halls. 18 of the first year students said that they were not beneficial, and they said that it isolates the first year students from the upperclassmen. And a lot of people said there was a lack of maturity and lack of guidance in these halls. 9 of our first year students were indecisive on the matter, and we put a quote from one that said, Having others in your grade helps make connections with people that will be at school with you the longest, but it would be nice to have other grades just so if you have more questions, you can go to them for student life. So for our sophomore students, 12 out of the 50 said they were beneficial, and again, said that they facilitate first-year friendships and relatedness. 27 of our sophomore students said that they were not beneficial. The halls were described as hectic, a lack of maturity, and one person said that they were lost without the guidance from upperclassmen. And 11 of our sophomore students were indecisive. One said it was beneficial for first-year friendships, but it would have been good to have more people to ask questions because upperclassmen have experience. And lastly, our upperclassmen students, 8 of them said that these halls were beneficial because you can meet more first-year students and live with those in the same situation as yourself. And also they facilitate first-year relatedness. 35 of our upperclassmen students said that these were not beneficial and said that, again, there was a lack of guidance and that the students can build more diverse relationships in mixed halls. One student said, I wouldn't have met as many people if I was in a first-year only hall. And 7 of our upperclassmen students were indecisive. One said it would have been helpful for meeting more first years, but living with upperclassmen students helped me to acclimate to campus and to know what to do. And we think it's really interesting to see how for the beneficial category, as we go from first years to upperclassmen, we decrease in the number, but for our not beneficials, they increase. And the sophomores is our most interesting category as they now live in mixed halls, but their first year, they lived in the first year only, so they have a chance to reflect and compare.
For the other things that we have found, we ran a Pearson product correlation and found that as relatedness increases, the likeliness of acquiring friends will also increase, as well as a student's resident hall experience will also increase. However, as relatedness decreases, the more out of place a student feels and the more a student wants to live in other residence halls. We also gathered GPAs. So the first year GPA mean is 3.11. The sophomore mean GPA is 2.93. The upperclassmen GPA mean is 3.22. And these GPAs are based on self-report of their first year GPA.
So in conclusion, we found that the first year specific residence halls facilitate friendships and relatedness between the first year students like they were promised to do. However, there was no evidence that this was significantly different or better than the experiences from first year students in mixed halls. Many of the upperclassmen students reflected on their first years at Manchester's and said that they relied on the guidance from these upperclassmen in the residence halls to become acclimated to the college life.
Some of the other biggest takeaways from our qualitative data were that the first year specific residence halls can isolate the first year students from the upperclassmen and lead to less diverse relationships. We also found, again, that they facilitate the first year friendships and the first year relatedness, but because they're missing out on all of the guidance and lessons and experience from the upperclassmen, we think they kind of are at a disadvantage living in these halls.
Lastly, we would like to thank you for watching our video and taking a look at our poster. We look forward to answering your questions, and we will have a Teams link down below to hopefully have some virtual face-to-face conversations with you guys.